Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Same Old Arsenal Team Talk. This is the Arsenal versus Leeds preview, and I have some fantastic guests with me this evening. I'm your host, Dan Potts, as ever, and joining me back from his break last week is my boy Manny from the Arse Brothers podcast. Manny, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, mate. Can't complain. Can't complain. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good. You all better now, mate, yeah?
All good, man. Ready to talk Arsenal, man. Let's get it on.
Let's get it on indeed. And also joining me is the legend that is Mr. Kevin Campbell. KC, how you doing?
I'm good, Dad. I'm good. Listen, I'm good to be back, and I'm pleased Manny's on because you know what? Me and Manny always lock horns and debate pretty well, don't we, Manny?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Always positive, man. Always positive. I love it.
Well, we try to be. We try to be.
Yeah. We do try to be. Someone who is not always positive is Mr. Kenny Ken, and he will be joining us in a couple of minutes. He has got some tech issues, but he will be on. So here's how tonight's going to work. We're going to talk a little bit about Arteta. We're going to talk a little bit about the process and if there's progress this season. So I'm going to start. I'm going to come to my boy Manny. Then I'm going to speak to Casey and see what he thinks about the situation. And hopefully we can get Kenny Ken's opinion on it. But here is how I see it. If I was to say to you guys, already Arsenal fan, after we beat Fulham 3-0 at the very first game of the season, that come February, we would be sitting in 11th place behind Leeds and West Ham and Everton and teams like that. Out of both trophies, I am sure many would agree that Arteta would be underachieving. I'm still not seeing enough progress. I think that although some of the players are playing better, he's changed some of the personnel in the first 11. I'm still seeing silly mistakes. I can't get over the Willian substitution for Dani Ceballos. Everyone was talking about Martinelli coming on. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen Martinelli as well. But as soon as Partey comes off, I'm expecting to see Dani Ceballos come on against Aston Villa, and we see Willian forced in again. I'm seeing some errors. I'm not seeing that this manager at the moment is showing me enough that he's learning from his mistakes. Manny, you have a theory, and we spoke about it off air yesterday and a bit today. And I struggled with the analogy of it to start with, but as you started to go through it, I kind of got where you were taking us. So before I bring you in on that, I'm going to welcome Kenny Ken to the show. Kenny, how you doing, my man?
All good, mate. Don't get put off by the close. I was just doing a bit of on a running machine, trying to keep myself fit. You know, it's usually I'm not anticipating a battle, just good discussion between like-minded fans. But you know, don't stop looking at my arms, Dan. Stop looking at my arms.
I am. I'm jealous.
We'll stop.
Kenny, welcome to the show, man. Always a pleasure to have you on. We're just talking a little bit about this season in terms of Arteta, and I'm going to bring Manny in. Manny has spoken about a theory, so Manny, I'm going to let you have the platform, man. It's over to you, bro.
Dude, we touched on it very briefly when we did the Arsenal's Extreme. When was it, last week, Wednesday? If anybody tuned in, you'll know exactly what I'm about to talk about. So, Arsenal are a novice club. And I'm not talking about in stature. I'm not talking about what we've achieved. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about how we've handled our transitional period. This club at the moment is the perfect breeding ground for novices, because novices are able to do a better job than the professionals. The novices of the Edus and the Artetas can bring a semblance of an Arsenal back where professionals have failed. The Bukayo Sakas and the Smith Rowes can come on the pitch and embarrass the seasoned professionals that we have in the team. So I told you, Potts, Arsenal right now, we are making the sort of moves that we should have made way back in 2006. Filtering out people at the top, changing people on, the executive level, changing managers, terminating contracts of players that are not good enough. Had things been going on, right? In 2006, 2009, when we first moved to the Emirates, nobody would be complaining as much as they are right now. The reason why they are is because we've wasted 15 years. We've wasted 15 years. We've pissed away money. We've been a revolving door of managers. Had some semblance of a plan been in place, we wouldn't be as angry as we are now, as disappointed, as apathetic as some of us are right now. Had an Emery-style manager followed Wenger when he should have left, for me, in 2010, nobody would really be complaining because people will understand we're in a transitional period. And having an Emery-style manager who gets you a Europa League here and there, nobody would have complained because we would have understood we're in a transitional period. And then you go and make the superstar managerial appointment if you want to. The Peps, the Klopps were available at a certain point, but we didn't do that, did we? We pissed about. We wasted our time. So now, novices, the Edus and the Artetas who need the resources, who need the support, they've got nothing. And they've got to do it on their own, and they've got to do it without the help of a Kroenke. But this is a novice club, so this is the perfect breeding ground for them. It's perfect. Arsenal right now, and this is what people need to understand. Arsenal right now, we are where we should have been in 2006, 7, 8, 9, and 10. That's where we are. We have to rip this shit up and we have to start all over again. So the quicker we can actually accept that, the quicker people can actually get into their minds that we are not better than where we should be. We are exactly where we are supposed to be because we are fucked up. That's it. That's it.
KC, I can see you smiling and nodding throughout what Manny's saying there. Obviously, have been speaking quite passionately, and you know I'm a massive fan of what you say and listen to you quite a lot on this show and on the Highbury Squad. Has Manny got a good point there with some of the points that he raises, KC?
Yeah, I think he does. I think what Arsenal fans have to do is look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture has been, since we've moved to the Emirates, life for Arsenal fans has not been straight. We've been led down the river without an oar, without a paddle, and qualifying for Champions Leagues has papered the cracks. And let's have it right. There weren't many people complaining when we were qualifying in the Champions League and getting done 10-2, etc. But we accept it. Stan Kroenke took over the club. We moved to the Emirates. We were told we were going to challenge. Okay? Yes, we were going to challenge. We're going to challenge at the top table with the Bayern Munichs of this world. That has never materialized. Never. The process of the club has steadily been getting worse. You look at the recruitment of players has steadily been getting worse. And then when we finally got Ozil, Sanchez, and Cazorla, what were we missing? We were missing two positions. We were missing a centre-half and a centre midfielder. We could have probably won the league. But you know what? You blink, Dan, and it's 17 years since we've won a league title. So cut it to now, all of a sudden, we've had the experienced manager in Wenger who, for whatever reason, whether it was he's protecting whoever, he never addressed the problems. Unai Emery, who's an experienced manager, came in. He done pretty well in his first year, where we should have actually qualified for the Champions League, through the league or the Europa. We fell badly on both. But because we've been standing still, Dan, other teams have passed us now. Everybody in the Premier League now has money. Everybody has slowly been building as well. You know, people mentioned about Aston Villa. Last season they were there. Well, it's not last season. It's this season. And they've recruited and they've brought in better players. And now we're dealing with this season. They have moved above us so far. Other teams have moved above us so far. That's how much we've slid. We used to have a mentality of trying to be the best club. That went when we left the Emirates, I'm afraid. Sorry, when we left Highbury. Since we've been at the Emirates, we have not been a club who want to be the best. And Manny's right. Manny is right. It's poor from top to bottom. And now this is what Arteta and Edu, who are novices, have to try and restructure, rebuild the football club. And you know what? I'm going to say two things. And I'd love to hear what Kenny thinks about this. The fact of the matter is, when has young players of 20 and 19-year-old been carrying the Arsenal first team. I've never seen it. In all of my life, I'm 51. I've never seen three youngsters carrying Arsenal's first team. Right? That's one major point. And two is these guys, we've had to pay players to leave Arsenal Football Club. I've never seen that either. So we're looking at things that I've never seen in my lifetime. I don't know if you've seen it, Kenny, or whatever. Dan, you've never seen it. So these are the things that people take for granted, I believe, with Arteta and Edu. But you know what? It's an absolute crap show. It's a shit show at the club. And I'll stop there. I'll leave it for Kenny now.
Well, I think you make some good points, Casey, and I certainly have not seen that whatsoever. But Kenny, I'm going to bring you in here because I would say that my fingers are not pointing at the manager. My fingers are pointing at the board and the owners, because we all wanted a Diego Simeone. We all wanted an Allegri or somebody with experience to replace Arsene Wenger. When that didn't happen and we got Unai Emery, we then looked at the board and said, well, that hasn't worked. Can you bring in an Ancelotti or a Rafa Benitez or a Simeone or an Allegri? And we got a novice in Arteta. So Manny's talking about novices. Casey's talking about stuff happening that's perhaps never happened in certainly my lifetime. Where do you see this, Ken, in terms of Arteta and the board and the ownership right now?
Well, let's go back to what Kevin said. I think if you talk about the 86-87 season, George Graham's, we went 8 years without winning the trophy. And if you look at Arsenal's first team, it was mostly filled. The prominent players were players who were 19 or 20. Players like Hayes, Rocky, Niall Quinn, was one of the, and obviously a very young Tony Adams. So that was at the time was Georgie's spine, and that got us, rewrote the sleeping giant. But since then, you're right, that's never happened before. And in terms of like playing players to leave as well, it hasn't happened. But one thing I will bring up what you and Manny have spoke about. You're talking about a shit show at Arsenal. All I'm saying is that Arsenal fans have been spoilt because of the longevity of Arsene Wenger, for him being in the club 22 years, and obviously George Graham was there for 9 years. Arsenal fans don't know the situation or experience the situation other clubs experience. At every other club, this is a norm.
Yeah.
Paying a player, to do the frat boff, having transition after transition, not giving managers times. And that's really because of the fact that it's the Premiership as well. Because at times, I saw you on another podcast, Kevin, and you were talking about how you're comparing the situation with George and the situation now. Now, the situation that you were talking about with George was the 80s, I believe, the 80s. So if you look at the 80s, you split it two ways. Pre-Heysel and post-Heysel. Pre-Heysel, Liverpool were the dominant figure. Teams were only happy to get into Europe, right or wrong. So what was happening is that managers in that time did have time. After Hillsborough, it was Liverpool and Everton dominating. There was no European football. So again, managers have time. We're now talking about the Premiership now, where that doesn't exist now because teams can't get into Europe. The Champions League has become the alpha and omega, and owners are not really patient because they want success like yesterday. So managers like, Mikel, ain't got time, ain't going to get time. We know that Mikel's got a 3.5-year contract, but that is going to be dependent on the first year if they see discernible progress. Look what happened to United with Moyes. He was got a 7-year contract, and everyone thought Moyes had time, but in that first year, all Man United were expecting the Champions League. They finished. They were well within that. It was 7th at the time. He got sacked, and all I'm saying about the whole situation, novice or not, it's the sign of the times now. There isn't any time in football. People are going to look at the results this season, and they are going to make comparisons, and rightly so as well. And then they are going to demand some sort of replacements in place. We all know there's a process, but this process started in 2018. Manny's got a great point as well when he talks about the process as well. What we should have done when we moved from hybrid, completely right. I actually, Manny, I'm going to add something else on. people were talking about us getting the Champions League. Well, there was a top 4 in 2006, which involved Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, and Liverpool. It was a guarantee we were in the top 4, because even when we were like watching the pennies at Highbury, we still had a bigger expenditure than any other club outside the top 4. So when people praise Wenger for bringing miracles, I think they need to revisit this and go back into the zeitgeist and look at what really happened and look at the gap between the top 4 and the other clubs. What we've done at Arsenal over the years is we've been complacent. We've looked at other clubs and thought, oh, we'll never happen at Arsenal. And Manny's right. That's why we are in the situation now, because, as they say, fail to prepare to fail. And that's what's happening. We've had so many transitions over the years because no one was brave enough at the football club to pull the plug and ask them Wenger to say, thank you very much. You've taken us so far. We've experienced great highs, and the Invincibles, the 2 doubles. We haven't won a trophy for 9 years. We need to go in another direction. And then we could have, got managers who were available and started off and give them the time. Probably wasn't there, but we haven't done that, and we're now paying for it. But the problem we've got right now in terms of the Arteta situation is that he's not going to get time. The results are not his best friend. They really ain't. No matter,
Kenny, I think he will get time.
But I don't. But if you,
I think he will.
Yeah, but if you look at the situation, Kev, if we finish below where we finished last season, and we don't win a trophy in his first full season, when he's been a team manager, he's been part of the transfer committee, he's got complete control over the footballing side of the club, because that's what the team manager has. There is going to be some accountability. There may be someone on the board to think, well, hang on a minute, this first year, I know we're giving him time, but there's not any progress. You have to look at those results.
No, Kenny, accountability, I agree with you. 100%. Always have to be accountable. But the problem we've had is always, what do you do with the squad that inherited? We couldn't get rid of people in the summer, either because nobody wanted them, or the players didn't want to leave because they were on too good a screw. Finally, they got ruthless and they got players out in January. We haven't even started the rebuild.
Yeah, but you say that, Kevin. Those players that you're talking about that you got rid of, they weren't part of the first team anyway. They weren't.
No, but Kenny, Kenny.
Mustafi was part of the Premier League squads, a European League squads, and he did feature in one of the the very difficult games we had in the Europa League. But apart from that, Ozil was out of the squad. Socrates was out of the squad. Mustafi hardly featured. All these players that we couldn't get rid of, they weren't getting shirt numbers, and they weren't.
Yeah, we had to get rid of them, though, Ken.
No,
we
yeah,
had
but
to
Kenny,
get rid of them.
You had to get rid of them. But we took what people like yourself were talking about is what's going on the pitch.
Yeah, but Kenny,
that's the evidence.
Yeah, but Kenny,
no, good point.
Kenny, what I will say to you is this: it works both ways. Because if you've got cancer in the dressing room, because you've got to remember, because these guys ain't in the matchday squad, that don't mean that other players don't mingle around them. They are actually in the dressing room. And if you're trying to bring a culture into a football club, and you've got people like Mesut Ozil, etc., there, and they're putting tweets out that are contradicting what the club are actually wanting to do, that is bad for business, whether he's in the squad or not. And then what happens when we were going through a tough time? What happens is the fans start saying, oh, we should get Mesut Ozil back in the squad. No, Mesut Ozil is one of the guys that Arteta needed to get rid of. And we only were able to do that in January. Finally, we get rid of some guys, and now he's got to build now. So he's brought some players in.
He's not going to get time, Kevin. It's not going to get a time. The results are not his best friends. We could debate this all day and still have time in 3 weeks' time.
Kenny, all I'm saying is
it's a results business, Kev.
Kenny, all I'm saying is this: I believe Mikel Arteta will get the time.
Not if he finishes.
He will.
If he he shouldn't get the time. He shouldn't get the time.
Why shouldn't he?
It's a results business, Kevin. Because Arsenal, because at the end of the day, you can have all the goodwill and will him on, because I didn't see this sort of empathy and understanding for the last manager, is because Mick Arteta played for the club, and that is one of the things I was against. I told you this, Dan, when we spoke previously. The minute you get an ex-player involved in the management side of things, then you're going to have a problem, because when it doesn't work out, it's hard to pull the plug and kill Bambi. And that's the problem.
Kenny,
that's the problem we've got. If Muna Emery got these results, and he didn't get the kind of results Mikel was having. Everyone talks about Baku being an Armageddon. Well, we've had 10 Armageddons in the league.
Yeah. We've had 10 years of Armageddon.
Yeah, but we're talking about now, though. We're talking about now that you can't.
You can't talk about now and forget the past, Kenny.
Kevin, this is a 2020-21 season, and it's about football. Arteta's results are not sustainable for it to stay in the job. And if he somehow gets in the top six and wins Europa League, then you've got something to fight him with. But you can't fight on these results. If we finish below where we finished last season and do not win a trophy, then that is not sustainable. And questions have to be asked, because
Kenny,
you're staunchly behind Mikel. You're staunchly behind Mikel.
You can question, of course you can question.
There's floating voters now who are either or, but they're going to look at their results and they're going to make results. At the end of the day, it's the board's decision. But I don't know any other board that will sustain a manager where they finish below where they finished last season with no silver. I've never seen it before.
Kenny, okay,
this is
Casey, you answer that.
I just want to say
Casey,
this.
You answer that. I was just going to say you answer, Casey, and I'll bring Manny in.
I just want to keep it short. Kenny, I'm telling you now, it don't matter what the fan base think, because if you go with the fan base, you wouldn't go forward and you wouldn't go backward. You'd stand still. The football club have made the decision to put Mikel Arteta in. He is the manager, and they're going to back him. Whether they're going to back him with enough
big mistake.
But whether they're going to back him with enough funds or not, I don't know. But what I'm saying is, there needed to be root and branch of that dressing room being ripped up, because for the last 4 years, when we haven't been Champions League, which all the fans were happy about to qualify, we have stood still as a football club.
Kevin, I've got one more thing to say to you before we go. Two things. One thing, this conversation will not be acceptable if we go down the district line to Hammersmith and City line at Stamford Bridge. That what you said wouldn't be acceptable. Two, I've got 3 words for you: West Ham United this season.
And we'll come into that, because it's a good point, Ken. But you both make good points. You both make good points. I want to bring Manny in, because we started with that theory. We've all had a comment on it, and I think we can all agree of the last 15 years that has been a frustration is the word. But what do you make of what we've all said about your theory there, Manny? How has that made you feel in terms of emotion?
See, now I see how much, you enjoy this kind of podcast, because you can sit back and you can, enjoy it. And I've been loving sitting back in the shadows and watching this, because this is the kind of discussion I love being a part of. So there's right on both sides. I'm going to answer Kenny's point. Will Arteta get enough time? I don't think he will. Deep down, I don't think he will. This would be the perfect breeding ground for the type of manager that we have and the type of structure that we're trying to build. But see, here is the problem. That structure has no money. That structure has no resources. And that structure has a fan base that is not ready to accept that we are where we are. I know the fan base don't have any, they don't have any power in terms of what happens at the football club. But at the end of the day, you're still able to get to Mikel Arteta through his Twitter page. So you can have an effect. You can have some sort of, you get what I'm getting at. Will he get time? I don't believe he will. Because this is the results business, like Kenny says. And if this was way back when we should have been making these moves, he would have gotten time, because people would have understood the position that we're in. People would have been a bit more sympathetic to the position that we're in. But guess what? They're not. They want to see business, they want to see results, and they want to see them now. They don't understand that this is a process. They would have understood the process had this been when we should have been making the process. We wasted 15 years. Wasted it. faffing about, acting as if we were a big club. But in terms of actions, we were nothing but novices. We were more embarrassing then than we are now in terms of results. 8-2s, 6-0s, and things like that. And it was routine. These things were routine. So, listen, is he going to get time? I don't believe so. I don't believe he will. But he had to do something. Something had to be done. And it's funny that it's the novices that actually wanted to do something. That are showing us something different. Because the professionals, when they were seeing the crap, they were happy with it. And so was some of this fan base, by the way. So until we finally get it into our heads that we are back in 2006, we are back in 2006 in terms of process, and it's a hard time we accepted it, because if you don't, you're going to be moaning all day, all weekend for a very long time. Accept
Manny,
Arsenal for what it is right now.
Manny, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you a question then. If Mikel Arteta don't get the time, and we're a football club with no money, which big manager is going to stake his reputation on Arsenal?
No big manager would stake their position
Right.
on Arsenal even before.
So
Arteta.
you might as well keep the man in the job who was rebuilding now.
He's not rebuilding. It's no progress, Kevin. It's no progress.
Kenny,
see, here is the problem.
No, hold on,
Here's
Kenny.
the problem.
But when you plant a flower, Kenny, when you plant anything, until it pops through the earth, you don't know what's going on. Right? He's only just got the dead wood out. There's nobody could tell me we have got a top 6 squad. We haven't. We've brought players in. Some of the players
have West Ham got a top 6 squad, Kevin?
Kenny, this is what I will say to you. West Ham are playing a lot better than Arsenal are. West Ham are not being taken forward by kids. West Ham have got an experienced squad. We have got an experienced squad. No, well, hold on. We have got an experienced squad who over the years have let us down year after year after year. So I'm not surprised what's going on at Arsenal. And if anybody thinks that this squad at the start of the season, all of a sudden we're going to turn up and do the business, you're deluded. No chance.
Kev, when Arteta got this little system where he was playing in a counter-attack, where he was playing a back three, and he was basically allowing City to press, and he was getting past City's press in the semi-final of the FA Cup, and then he won the FA Cup virtually playing the same way, and we had this great result in the Community Shield, only a friendly, I know, and then Fulham, people were talking about the process, and they're firmly behind Mikel. They were expecting a lot more. Obviously, people like myself who had reservations about his thing. Yeah, but that is the situation. There's going to be a lot of fans, Kevin, who are not going to buy into what you said, because they've been brought. Because as I said before, I've had discussions with Dan and I've had discussions with Manny before. The modern football fan, right, has seen Arsenal get phenomenal success under George and under Arsene Wenger, and the genie's out the bottle in terms of expectations and demands, and you can't put the genie back in the bottle. And I think what you're trying to do is you're going back to what happened in the 80s and getting time. This is modern football now. Modern football is not about time.
Kenny,
I spoke to Scott.
Kenny, I'm not going back to Kenny. No, Kenny, you're wrong. I'm not going back to the 80s. What I'm saying is this: the present incumbent is Mikel Arteta. He has won a trophy, which some of these managers, you can mention this club, that manager who's been in the Premier League, they've won nothing. And I'm not saying that as an excuse. What I'm saying that is he got something out of these players. But the problem we've had has been consistency for the last 17 years. We have not been a consistent football club, right? So My point
So
of the matter.
Is Mikel Arteta our level now? Is he our level of coach? That's the question you ask. Is that our level?
Yes, he is.
Kenny,
I need to
he
know
is.
this.
Kenny,
I need to
he
know this
is.
so I can adjust.
Kenny, he
Adjust,
is.
because I don't believe he's the level of the football club.
He
You
is,
can't
Kenny.
stop calling us a big club then. We're not a big club no more.
No,
Mikel
Kenny,
Arteta is our level.
Kenny,
Thank
we are
you.
a big club. We are a
No,
big club.
stop.
But the
We are a big
mentality,
club.
the mentality isn't big, Kenny.
We are
The
a big
mentality
club
of the
in
club
name
isn't
only. We are a big club
And
in name
I agree
only.
with
We are
Manny.
not
But
a
if
big club
Mikel
in the way
Arteta
we make
is our
moves.
level of manager, then we've got problems. Big problems.
He is
Kenny.
our level of manager, Kenny, because guess what? We are way back in 2006. This is what we should have done then. This is where we are. And we need to start accepting that.
Yeah,
We've wasted 15 years.
I hear
We need to
you,
start accepting
but
that, bro.
we're talking about the level manager, but there's money we're spending in terms of transfer fees and player salaries is big clubs, big club money.
But Kenny, that's
we
been
are
the
not-
problem,
That was the
Ken.
professionals who did that. The
Yeah, but
professionals
Kenny,
did that.
that is
The
the
professionals
problem, Kenny.
the professionals put Ozone 350k a week. Mustafi on over 100k a week. Socrates on high money.
But that's
Kolasinac on
Premiership
high
wages,
money.
though. That's
This is what
Premiership
this
wages.
is. But this is what the professionals have done. We trusted these people to guide us and bring us to the fucking promised land. Wasted money on Xhaka. Wasted money on Mustafi. Meanwhile, in the summer, the novices are having to script and save to try to get Thomas Partey, a world-class midfielder, into the damn club. But the professionals spent 70 million on Mustafi and Xhaka and thought that was good enough.
Well, think
You see
about
what
this.
I'm saying?
Point.
Think about this. Think about this then, Manny, as well. For the last 10 years, we have had people doing recruitment. We've had Arsene Wenger, who was our most successful manager at the football club. Arsene Wenger has been out of the club 3 years. You're telling me the 7 years prior to him leaving for the last 3, we shouldn't have had players in position that if a new manager came in and wanted to move and shake and sell somebody, we couldn't be able to sell them for 30, 40, 50 million. We having to pay players to leave.
Because that's what they done.
Exactly.
This is what they have done. But see, here is the problem with all of that. Arsene Wenger should have left aside for the next manager that would have been good enough to get a damn Europa League through the door. That's what should have happened. But what did he leave us with? What did he leave the novices with? A wage bill that's about to burst? Players who have no mentality, they have no respect, they have no mental strength, no fighting spirit, they don't hold each other accountable for anything, they tweet all day. They can make a mockery of the football club, and the professionals allowed that to happen. And then you have the Edus and the Artetas who are coming in, trying to show them that this is not where it's going to happen. So guess what? We have wasted 15 years. We are back in 2006 in terms of our process, and we need to start accepting that right now. Arteta is our level manager because we are a novice football club trying to rebuild itself. This is what we should have done when we left Highbury. But we didn't do because we pissed around trying to be a big club in name only. Only now are we starting to act like a big club and trying to show something that this is not going to stand. And it's the novices bringing that through the door.
Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring this in. And this is a question from my dear old mum. And she's saying Arteta needs more time. My mum's a massive Arteta fan, probably a bigger Arteta fan than UKC. And she's saying, think about what he has achieved rather than what he hasn't yet. Now, I want to bring this up as a question, and Casey, I'll start with you, because a lot of people are telling me, look at what he has achieved. He's achieved an FA Cup. He's got us playing better defensively, and off the pitch in terms of the recruitment, he definitely has improved. And I think him and Edu have actually been quite successful with the transfers that we have got in, and more importantly, this window, the trash that we got out, right? And I don't mean trash in terms of quality, because Ozil had the quality there before people start jumping down my neck, but his mentality was weak like the others, and they had to go because they were poisonous, right? So the two questions are this: has Arteta done enough yet to show that we are making progress? That's my first question. And secondly, is it true that we have a better squad now than we did under Unai Emery? Because I would argue that it is better now. And the reason I would say that is because I believe Gabriel looks to be a better defender than Mustafi. I think Pablo Mari looks to be a better than Koscielny from what I've seen. Martini's better than Monreal and Kolasinac. I think Thomas Partey is much better than El Neni and Guendouzi and Torreira that Unai Emery had. I think maybe Aaron Ramsey is the only miss because now we've got Smith Rowe who is actually performing. Saka is better than Welbeck or Iwobi. And we've still got the same Granit Xhakas, Bellerins and Aubameyang and Lacazette. So surely now we have got a better squad than Unai Emery had. No, KC?
Dan, let me take the last question first. On paper, yes, of course, on paper. But you know what? One beautiful thing about football, the game isn't played on paper. The game is played on a football pitch with 2 goals at either end. And what you've got to do, you've got to try and dominate your opponent. If you can do that, get the better of them, you will win football matches. We have not been good enough on that football pitch with a lot of Arsene Wenger players, with some Unai Emery players, and obviously Mikel Arteta has added some pieces. Because you know what? For the last 12 years, we have seen it. Stevie Wonder has seen it. Everybody has seen it. We needed a centre-half and a central midfielder. And we could be blue in the face. This is all we needed. When Leicester won the title, if we'd have had that, I've had a battle with Kenny saying, I think we would have won it. We don't know, but I think we would have been in a lot better position to win it if we'd had a centre-half and a centre midfielder. But hey-ho, whether that works out or not, we don't know. But it takes the novice to come in and address that problem in one transfer window. How? We're Arsenal Football Club. We shouldn't. Arsene Wenger knows football. Unai Emery knows football. But we don't address it. So the stuff that Arteta is doing, he's having to clean up a lot of crap that has been gone back. It's legacy crap from, as Manny says, 2006. And it's still at the club. The rot is still there. So he's had to clean up all that. So let's get to the question about, has he improved us? In some aspects, Dan, in some aspects, he's improved us. Because when's the last time we had the second, third best defense in the league? A long, long time. We were shipping goals left, right, and center. And everybody, I've been brought up on it. Kenny, you remember in the 80s when George Graham took over, the club were built on that back four and defense. You will not win anything without a defense. The defense helped us win the FA Cup at the back end of last season. But there's certain things that you need in place in order to continue and be successful consistently. And one thing is, you need the squad that's together and everybody playing and believing in the same thing. And he's never actually had that, yet he still doesn't have it, Dan. So I understand 10 defeats is a travesty. I get it. I'm an Arsenal fan. I don't like that at all, losing 10 games. No chance. But you know what I believe? I believe Mikel Arteta is systematically and slowly changing us. We won't see it. We might see it sparingly here and there. But I believe Mikel Arteta needs to get to the summer, and then we will see a better Arsenal moving forward. That's my opinion. People might not agree with me, but I've seen
absolutely
improvements.
And you know what? Before I come to Kenny and Manny, do you think, Casey, just lastly, that Arteta is underachieving with what I've just gone through as a better squad than Unai Emery had? Do you feel that he's underachieving currently, being 11th in the league?
Being 11th in the league is underachieving for us as a football club, 100%. Of course it is. I'm not going to try and tell anybody that we aren't underachieving. But being an ex-player, I know the manager will train you, prepare you to play, to get results. And our football club are being led by 2 or 3 youngsters. It's not Arsenal, man. This isn't Arsenal. And going back to when George Graham first took over, Kenny, we had Kenny Sansom there. We had David O'Leary there. We had Viv Anderson there. We had Stevie Williams there. We had Graham Ricks there. We had Charlie Nicholas. We had Tony Woodcock. We had experienced players in the building. So when you have experienced players, sorry, Ken, when we have experienced players, they are the ones who can help the youngsters. Our youngsters are helping the experience. It's madness.
Kenny, come in.
Right, one thing about the George Graham era, I have to stand to be. You stand to be corrected. He got rid of Tony Woodcock and he got rid of Paul Mariner, and Gray and Ricks hardly featured. He was,
No,
he,
but
he
they were
started,
still there. My point is they were still
yeah,
there.
In terms of team, George Graham, ushered them. He's got rid of Woodcock and Nicholas, sold them on frees, and Graham Ricks hardly ever played.
Kenny,
he wasn't in that midfield.
1986 and 87, Charlie Nicholas was still at the football club because he scored the
and
winning goals in the League Cup.
He couldn't wait to get rid of Charlie Nicholas.
No, but he scored the winning goals in the League Cup. My point of the matter is, Ken, sorry, but I just want to make this point. My point of the matter is there was experienced players to help the youngsters through. That's all.
Yeah, Dave O'Leary and Viv Anderson. I agree with you on that point. But in terms of what Dan's talking about, about have we seen any progress under Arteta? The league table says no. I generally believe, and you've made a point that we have better personnel under Mikel and then Unai Emery had, and Unai Emery still managed to get a shake out of these players. He was only a fingernail away from getting in the top four, and he's only like a half nail from getting third place. And what's happened is that disaster in Baku. After that, he was toast, and all bets were off for Mikel in terms of whether we improved defensively. Yes, we are, but we still are susceptible to the overloads down the right hand side, with where Holding and Bellerin are our weak links. Don't get me wrong, Bellerin in the last few games is holding his own. Holding, obviously, when teams play with a physical striker and put crosses in, meat and drink win. But we still need to address that thing. Mick Arteta, in my opinion, still has to get another right back. He needs an auxiliary left back because Kieran Tierney cannot complete a season. And with the likelihood of COVID being with us for the next couple of years, we're going to have a condensed program. So in that respect, he has improved. But again, the litmus test is always going to be league performances. You can talk about the best defence as much as you like. We had the best defence in 92, 93, but we still only scored 38 goals and finished about, where we are now. But we won 2 trophies. But in terms of like what we're used to, we didn't challenge. This is not 90, 92, 93. This is 2021.
Yeah, but Kenny, the question was...
We won 2 doubles.
Yeah, but the question was, has there been any progress made under Mikel Arteta?
No. Well, that's the only progress...
So there has been progress made. There has been some progress.
This season, no, because he is depreciated because we won the FA Cup last season, and he got some semblance of results. But I'm still seeing square pegs for round holes. So in terms of like this, where we've seen improvements, the league form table's not telling me that. I have to be honest.
Manny, let me bring you in on this one. I want to bring you on this point that we've just been discussing, but also what I want to ask is this. I feel like Arteta will get time, whatever, this season. I just do. I think the board and owners are going to give him time. I don't think that he deserves it, because I think that if we're going to be in this position that we're in now and we don't win that Europa League, I wouldn't say there's any progress whatsoever, because there's no trophy and we're finishing way below 8th place, which is where we finished last season. So my question to you is this. How does Arteta lose his job this season, do you think? Or are you of the opinion, like me, that he just won't?
First of all, Pots, before I even go there and answer those questions,
on,
I hope people who are watching this are genuinely enjoying the debate and the conversation, because this is the kind of stuff we should be talking about. And when COVID finally decides to fuck off, Pots, get a camera, get all of us sitting around a table, because this needs to be recorded live, mate. I love it. Absolutely love it. Now, for me, we need to do this live and in person, I swear. But to answer your question, Potts, for me, right, if I'm the person who's making the decisions, and first of all, I don't even think this is Stan Kroenke making those decisions. I think whoever it is making these decisions and putting these people in place, I don't believe it's Stan Kroenke. Do I believe it's Josh? Maybe. It's a young man making young man moves. Stan Kroenke doesn't give a shit. Right? That's what I believe anyway. For me, if I'm Josh, bring me the Europa League, or there's no conversation to be had. Period. Bring me the Europa League. It's just that simple. It's that simple. We need it. We need it. And because where we are going to finish in the league, we're not going to get anywhere near Europe. But we need our Champions League, don't we? Because we've pissed away our money. So bring me the Europa League or go out of the door. But deep down, do I think that will be enough? How does he lose his job if we finish 15th and we get embarrassed in the Europa League? That's how I believe he'll lose his job. Because I don't think it's Stan Kroenke making those decisions anymore. So what was the second question, by the way? I completely forgot.
No, that was it, man. How does he lose his job? And I think you've answered that. And I'm with you. I think that should be a serious question for him. Are you going to take us forward? Yes, I am. Prove it. He's not proving it in the league at the moment. We've showing no consistency whatsoever. I'm not seeing a style of play. And in the last few games, it's the only thing that I have seen in a few triangle passes and some playing out from the back that now I'm starting to see a style. And then we go to Aston Villa and the game plan is ruined after 70 seconds, by the way, because of a diabolical pass back from Cedric. And then all of a sudden, it's got a situation that we are not seeing a style of play again. I was so confused with some of the...
Dan, by the way, the back pass, the pass back to Gabriel was short, but Aston Villa still had a lot to do to score. Traore goes down the line. Gabriel nearly gets to and he doesn't put a great ball in, but you got their most lethal striker on his own in the box.
Rob Holding.
With a free shot. Rob Holding was marking space as opposed to marking the player. Anybody, I watched that goal. If Rob Holding stays close to him, Villa don't score.
100%.
So I understand Cedric made a bad pass, but this is what the defenders are supposed to do. If you make a bad pass, if I make a bad pass, Kenny's supposed to get me out of it. And if Kenny can't get me out of it, then you're supposed to get us out of it. But the fact of the matter is, unfortunately, and maybe this is an issue for Rob Holding, he fell asleep. He backed off Ollie Watkins. And the ball goes to Ollie Watkins, ends up in the back of our net after a minute or so. And we're playing with snookers. It's crazy.
Well, the thing is that happens. And I just want to answer the comment that somebody put that you put up there earlier, saying that we're being generous towards Arteta. Trust me, we're not, or I'm not. Because if you're making mistakes, you should be called out on it 100%. But the reason why I'm more inclined to jump on the bandwagon and give these people a little bit of time is because how long have we been saying that we needed a centre half and a central midfielder? In one transfer window in the summer, we get Gabriel, who I'm hoping his ceiling is as high as I think it will be, and we get Thomas Partey. And we've been screaming out for that. We haven't replaced Vieira. We need a centre half to challenge. The novices went and addressed that. But we're not being generous towards Arteta. He hasn't got that. He hasn't got that leeway. Anyway.
Good points. Good points well made. Let's move on to this game of the weekend because I struggle, Kev, when I look at some of these fixtures upcoming. And a lot of people are confident about the weekend, saying that the Leeds game home is going to be an easier game. I disagree. I think they're a very, very good side. I like the way they play. I've got a lot of time for their manager. I just love him. I think he's absolutely brilliant. And I think this is going to be a very, very tough game. I actually think that although on paper this could be like 5-5, I actually feel like this is going to be a game which cancels each other out. And I think we saw that at Elland Road. Or obviously Pepe got sent off and we looked on top and we managed to nick a point. What do you make of this game coming up? Because this one, I'm being told, is the easier fixture. But I disagree. I think they're a great outfit.
No, we say, listen, it's a tough game because Leeds are in a good run of form. But they are beatable. They are beatable, definitely. And we've seen teams who can shift the ball pretty well, give them a hiding at times, and because they don't change the way they play. They don't adjust. They keep coming at you the same way, keep pressing you, etc. We've seen Leicester go to their place. We've seen Brighton go there and beat them. We've seen Man United, take them apart, etc. But you have to be playing smart and you have to play clever football to get the better of them. Now, we've seen us play clever football in the first half against Wolves. It went pear-shaped in the end. We couldn't sustain it into the Aston Villa game and we looked leggy. We could have still been playing now. We wouldn't have scored, no matter who come on. So we could blame William all we like, or, he's making this decision, that decision. I don't think we would have scored at Aston Villa, because Aston Villa, credit where credit's due, I thought they defended pretty well on the day. So fair enough. I just believe this is a game that Arsenal have to win, because we know there's a run of tough games coming up. But you know what? In this league, you can't put your finger on what's going to happen, because when we were in a bad run and then we played Chelsea at the Emirates and we blow Chelsea away. It's the season's mad. The season is mad right now. We need a win, but it's going to be really difficult, and we can't be giving any gifts away to this Leeds team, or else they're going to put it on us. They're going to make life very difficult for us. But we can definitely win this game, Dan.
Okay. Kenny, let's come to you. What do you make of the game upcoming this weekend, mate?
I'm looking forward to it, because I think, things that Kevin said as well is Leeds are, they're either gonna body us or we're gonna body them. I think the thing that makes Leeds so difficult to play against is because of their system. The 4-1-4-1, and what they aim to do when they play teams is they like to outnumber the opposition in the last third, and they like to get overloads on both sides of the pitch. For instance, down the right hand side, Ayling, Rafinha, and down at right side, and then on the left hand side you've got Stuart Dallas coming down the left hand side. Sometimes you see Harrison and you see Alioski. So what happens is that Patrick, Bamford doesn't have to play with his back to goal. He doesn't have to bring players in, because he knows he's getting that support, and that's where it's going to be very difficult. We've talked about our right hand side with Hector Bellerin and Rob Holding, all those overloads where they'll get mullered. And we're talking about not having Kieran Tierney, our best player, not just this defensively, but going down that left-hand side in an attacking sense as well. So that's going to be difficult. The good news is that now we've got someone like Smith Rowe can move the ball quickly and change the tempo of our game. If we can get our runners in and be direct, which means Pepe down the left-hand side, Saka down the right-hand side, and attacking pace down the other way, we can body these, but we've got to move the ball quickly, because one thing we haven't spoke about is Leeds is the athleticism. They've outrun every team this season, with the exception of Chelsea. So they're because of the way they play, Bielsa wants them to have the sort of athleticism to get back in their positions quickly to stop the counter attacks. So we're going to rely on a quick play. We move the ball quickly, be direct, we can win this game. But be careful of the overloads and help out our full-backs. We don't have our full-backs, we're getting mullered.
Fair play, Kenny. Manny, same question for you. And also, team news-wise, obviously Partey and Tierney are out. Do we expect the same team, apart from Cedric will replace Tierney at left-back and Danny Ceballos will come in for Thomas Partey? Manny.
I kind of want to see something a little bit different, in the sense that I would love to, Arteta to throw a curveball and go, you know what, Gabriel, and this is Martinelli, by the way, go ahead and show me what you can do up front. I would love to see that. Why not? Because that's been stinking out the place the last couple of games. Aubameyang hasn't I don't know where the hell he is. So why not try Martinelli through the middle? We all know he's going to give a whole lot more than both of them at the minute. I would love to see that kind of curveball. Ceballos should come back in 100%. Cedric is going to... I'm almost tempted to go, you know what, Bukayo, go ahead and do a job for me. Because Cedric clearly is uncomfortable on that left-hand side. I would love to see a few curveballs that will throw Leeds off their game a little bit. That would have them thinking, maybe we haven't got these sussed out. But we might see more of the same. We might see more of this. I don't know, Pods. To be honest with you, I'm just looking forward to seeing us play. It feels like this has been a little bit of a break, because fixture congestions, injuries piling up. It happens because of what's happened with COVID. But I'm just looking forward to seeing us play football and addressing some of the issues that we saw at Aston Villa.
I agree, man. Casey, I know you've got to shoot off. Quick prediction before you do go over to Ivy School. What do you reckon, mate?
I think it's going to be. I think there's going to be goals. I think it's going to be 3-2 Arsenal.
Oh, 3-2.
Yeah, 3-2.
Fair play. Listen, I'd take that 100%. I would take
Yeah,
that.
we'll take any win. I'll take any win, by the way.
Just anything, any win.
Yeah,
KC, I know you've got to shoot off, man, but thanks ever so much for coming
Kenny,
on, man.
good to see you. Manny, take care.
Hey, give Sophie a message. If she wants to pay for my internet, just because I've had a couple of lucky breaks with the internet, tell her that if she needs to contact me because I need to send her my PayPal details.
No problem.
And one more thing, try and get Arsenal legends other than you to talk about Arsenal matters. I don't want to see Steve Nicol or Warren Barton talk about Arsenal matters. I know Warren Barton's from Stokey, but he's not an Arsenal player.
But he's an Arsenal fan. He's an Arsenal fan, though.
I know
Ken.
he's from Stokey, but he didn't play for the
boy,
club.
yeah.
You can't go all the limelight and just be the only Arsenal fan. I want someone to
listen.
challenge you.
Hey, Kenny, there's that many platforms out there, but you know what? A lot of the players aren't comfortable putting their neck on the line, mate.
You know what? I can only cope with challenging you. I can't do the other players. Like you know what I mean?
Man, please. You know what, Casey? I'm glad you actually, you can put your neck out there, sit down and have a conversation with us, brother. And I'm definitely, I'm 100% serious when I say we need to do this in person, live. I'm dead serious. We do. We do.
Interlopers. No
round table.
Yeah, four people, a mic. Dan, you could pay for that. I'll buy the drinks. I don't drink, but yeah, you get the mic, and then we'll find some. We go to this boys boxing club in Archway. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, I'll speak to the owner there. I'll know him. We'll do it.
All right, well, listen. Love you guys. Take care. Dan, thanks again for calling me on. Kenny, Manny,
take care, sir.
Everyone in chat, take care. Nice one. Love you, man. Love you guys.
Take care, KC. Cheers, man. Top man. The wonderful KC there. Kenny, let's come to you, man. Score predictions before we wrap up. What do you reckon it's going to be, mate?
You know what? I spent all the time, shouting the odds, and now I'm going to sit in the fence. Sorry, Manny. I know you're going to be upset with this. It's either going to be 3-0 or 3-1. I can't. It's either going to be 3-0 to us or 3-1 to them. That's the game. That's the game. You just do not know with Leeds United. They're not going to get into Europe. They've got no other games. This is their big game. They owe us one because they feel that we got lucky and that we made ourselves difficult beat when we went out of 10 men. So for me, it's either or. We could. The barometer is. I know I'm not allowed to say this, but if you watch our Spurs beat Leeds just before Christmas, I think that's the way we got to play to win this game. Really do. Sorry, Manny. I know. I shouldn't say that.
Manny, let's come to you and I'll go last.
I just want to see a good game, man. So I'm gonna stick my neck out on the line and I'm gonna say 3-1 to the boys. But Leeds, it will be a difficult 3-1. It'll be a 3-1 when we're sweating at 2-1 and Leeds hit the post and Bamford misses the sitter and then we get, a scrappy goal and it's 3-1 and we're happy. You know what I mean? It's going to be one of those. Kenny, I don't blame you for sitting on the fence. This season has gone all over the place. You know what I mean? But I would rather, if we played like you say, if we played like Tottenham like did against Leeds, great. Because I hope we don't play like they did against Everton because that was embarrassing and hilarious. So again, 3-1 to the boys.
Cool. Hey, sorry, Dan. I'm going to have to go because my battery's dying.
Yeah, that's fine, man.
I don't want Sophie to tell me off for not having enough juice on the internet. By the way, Sophie, I know you're watching. My PayPal details. Just give me a thing and I'll give them to you. All right?
Kenny, always a pleasure, my friend. You take care, bro.
Pleasure, Kenny.
Take care, man. And then there was two.
Then there were two.
Manny, I just want to bring this up just quickly before we do wrap up and I give my score prediction because Claude's in the chat. Big up, Claude, and I hope you get well soon, man. He has not been well for a long time, bless him. If Tony Adams was captain last week, Holding would have been off at half-time. This is the thing. This is the kind of shift that you were talking about in the shift of mentality and how people, times have changed and how players have changed. But Claude brings up a good point there that there's kind of a lack of leadership at the club, and I just wanted to bring that comment into it to just kind of see that where we're at the moment is that mistakes happen in football, but unfortunately, when you got something so bad as that, and some of the rubbish we've seen from players like Bellerin and Granit Xhaka and Mustafi over the years, where is the leader on that pitch to currently look at those situations? I don't see one, mate.
I don't know. We haven't recruited him yet, or somebody hasn't stepped forward. Like, you know what I mean? There's somebody has to step forward. We need to find it. You know, we need to find it. I don't even want to mention Tony Adams' name, right? Because that was a long, long time ago. Let's modernize it a little bit. I want a Vincent Company, right? I want a Vincent Company because even when that man wasn't playing, the players felt him because he wouldn't allow them to do anything else but go out there and do what you're supposed to do. Give me a Vincent Company. That's it. Because they say that they don't make them anymore. Oh, yes, they do. They just make them differently. They've modernized them a little bit because times have changed. These players are softer. You have to guide them through a game for the whole 90 minutes. You know what I mean? You got to modernize it and then we can move forward. We can genuinely move forward, but we need to find that. Arteta and the Yedus, the novices need to go out there and find that. But I'll tell you what, Potts. This is why I said this was a 10 out of 10 transfer window, and I didn't mean it by player recruitment. I meant by the mentality and what was happening and the fact that we're finally showing a bit of balls. This is what I was talking about, mate. And I loved this absolute discussion, but I absolutely loved it.
It has been class, I must admit. I've enjoyed just sitting back and listening to it because there's difference of opinions, there's respect, and there's an understanding of the football club in terms of knowledge as well. I'm going to give my prediction for the Leeds game, and I think that it is going to be a game which cancels each team out, and I'm going to go for 0-0. I don't think either team have got the capabilities of scoring 3 or 4 goals. I just don't see it. So I think it's going to be a 0-0. Huh?
Daniel, you suck. You suck. All right, Daniel,
Mate,
you absolutely suck. Yeah,
you know me.
Suck.
You know me, bro. I can't sit there and say that I'm 4-0, 4-0, 5-0. What are they watching? I don't understand this. I am currently watching a team that's struggling to score goals. I'm going to go 0-0. I hope I'm wrong.
That's the thing, man. You're not deluded. You know what I mean? You're not deluded in the fact that, 4-0, 5-0. Whoever's predicting that, they need to put down the drink. But Potts, we are where we are, bruv. This is 2006 again, man. You can be a bit happier, bruv. 0-0 is ridiculous. It's not going to be 0-0, bruv. It's not going to be 0-0. You suck.
We'll see. We'll see, won't we? We'll see. I think it will be. I think it will cancel each other out, and I think it will be 0-0. It won't be anything more than a 1-1. I really don't think it will. But listen, I hope I'm wrong. I hope we absolutely batter them 4-0. But I can't see it personally. And I think they will cancel each other out. So let's see what happens. Manny, it's been a pleasure to have you back on, man. It's always better when you're here, man. It's always better when you're here.
Well, I hope so, man, and I hope that people have genuinely enjoyed it. And to anybody who's got, a bad thing to say about the discussion that they've just heard, go fuck yourself. Potts?
Absolutely.
Always
man,
a pleasure.
Been a pleasure. Man, it's been a pleasure is ours having you on, man.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone in the chat as well. There was over 300 of you live watching us at one stage. Thank you all so much. I hope you enjoyed the thoughts of myself and Manny, and of course Kenny Ken and the legend that is Kevin Campbell. We will see you on Monday night at 7 o'clock as always, and we'll be back next week for a Man City Arsenal preview. We have got Benfica in the games midweek. But due to capacity, there won't be a preview for the Europa League game. That will be covered on the Monday night and the Friday night with me. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we can start to take that competition a lot more seriously and get some results. I hope we can turn this around. I really do. And let's see if we can keep up the Arsenal. You take care, guys. We'll see you next time.